Hey team, and welcome. I'm your host, Carrie, creator of Mother Life, your destination for all things real talk and parenting. This is the IRL group chat, where we talk about the wild balancing act of pursuing careers and passions while also doing our best to show up for our kids. Join me every week as I sit down with some badass parents in my closet and we talk about their careers, kids, and relationships and all of the weird shit that comes up when you're trying to balance the seemingly impossible. Ideals versus practice. So much of the tension in parenting and career and life comes from the mismatch between the ideals we walk around with and how it actually maps onto our lived reality. The trap, of course, is trying to ram those abstract ideals into an actual lived life with external factors and circumstances, with real human needs and wants. You're just set up to fail. I think about this in my parenthood journey all the time, how I'm regularly bending and shifting what the ideal was to match my actual lived reality, still trying to hold true to the core of what I care about, that I raise kind, thoughtful, independent, and yet community-oriented kids. Whether or not they watch TV after school in the grand scheme of their entire lives and the other sources of input they're getting, that's not going to really move the needle. Whether or not they're incredible and diverse eaters, that was the ideal, isn't going to mean they have less scope for interpersonal or professional success. Not in any real sense of those things anyway. So too in career, it's a constant tension between the ideal of the dream job with how that works in practice, what that means for other parts of life, and if it's a trade-off worth making in reality. You might love that super senior, well-paid role at the prestigious company, but you might not love how little it means you see your family and readjust accordingly. This week's guest had me thinking a lot about the tension and collaboration between our inherent ideals and the practice of our daily lives, because she's a serial entrepreneur who has, at her core, figured out how to bring her ideals into the everyday in a way that keeps their essence alive while also integrating into reality. She makes it in some ways seem like the most natural, obvious thing in the world to do, because I think she comes from a place of such clarity and vision and a true complement to how she lives her life outside of work. Miki Agrawal is a serial entrepreneur, founding companies like THINX, period underwear, Tushy, the seemingly now ubiquitous bidet company, and most recently Hiro Technolgoies, a disposable diaper revolutionizing the market with fast-decomposing product that promises to reduce landfill waste caused by traditional diapers dramatically. The through line for all of these businesses: meet people where they are in life in a way that helps them and helps the planet at the same time, and somehow do it in a way across the board that isn't really making more work for anyone, making others a little closer to their ideals they may have made for themselves without too much extra effort. Enjoy. Welcome to the virtual closet. If you were here in real life, we would be in my closet, my actual closet.
Oh, I love that.
It's very intimate. But I think you're the perfect person to get intimate with because, I joke that like nary a day goes by that I'm not bringing up somebody's poop or discharge. And I feel like these are all right in your wheelhouse. Right.
Yes, this is my life.
You're my body's girl, so I'm excited about it. And all right, so we're going to start with little Miki. Now, you were born in Canada, right?
Born and raised in Montreal, Canada.
And your parents were both immigrants?
Yeah, my mom's from Japan and my dad's from India.
Okay.
So my mom, she was like, "Hello, pleased to meet you." And my dad is like, "What is going on today?" And so definitely grew up with two loving parents, but from very different backgrounds in French Canada and Montreal, where French is my first language. So I grew up in a very multicultural household. And so, French, Japanese, Hindi, English was like
incredible,
in the field. And, our neighbors were Chinese or French, we had friends at school who were from every, race, gender,
worldview.
Worldview. Yeah. Religious view. And so we just kind of grew up very tolerant. In Canada, people are very tolerant of one another. I think one of the reasons is because we have this thing called moral and religious education, where you have to take it 5 days a week for 1 hour a day for 5 years. So grade 7 to grade 11, you have this thing called MRE, moral and religious education, and where you're learning about every single type of religion, every single type of morality. And so by the time you graduate, you're like, I understand everyone. Like, I'm not afraid of like why you wear a hijab, or why you're, a Taoist, or why you're a Buddhist, or why you're, Muslim, or why it just doesn't.
Yeah.
Once you understand, it's just like there's no mystery. And so because of that, there's so much tolerance that builds from
I
that.
love that. Now,
yeah.
Going on stereotypes alone, I feel like how Japanese parents and Indian parents might express love to their child looks different. Was that true for you?
Well, my father was like a really strict Indian father, so, very academic oriented. But my mom and dad were also our soccer coaches for our whole lives. They were the head of the Hindi school. My dad was the head of the Hindi school. My mom was the head of the Japanese school. And, we played sports, our whole life too, but very academic and very just pro, like,
Achievement.
excellence. Basically,
This sort of the classic
focus.
immigrant archetype, like just be excellent at what you're going to do. But did they have that thing of like, Miki, we want you to be a doctor, we want you to be a lawyer, or was it just be excellent? Of course. Okay.
No. Miki, the heart surgeon, Radha, the orthopedic surgeon, Yuri, the brain surgeon. And Yuri did become the brain surgeon. She's a head and neck surgeon, and she's like, was at Hopkins for 20 years, like Harvard, yeah, like that girl. And which kind of paved the way for my twin sister and me to become just like artists in a way, creatives, artists, entrepreneurs, because I think my parents' itch was scratched with my older sister, so we're very grateful.
So she's stereotypical older sister energy.
Yep, she's her hands are insured because she's a head and neck surgeon, so we call her the ice queen, but she's amazing. Yeah, she's really,
got her shit together. Yeah,
cool. She's got her shit together. She's very Japanese.
And now you and your sister being twins, who was born first?
Radha was born first, 5 minutes older, and so I've had the baby of the family vibes, but I also it sort of but yeah, she got the middle child like syndrome, and I got like $1 less in allowance than my sister, which was just like a hilarious practical joke for my dad.
So funny, actually.
As identical twins, she got $1, but she's 5 minutes older, so she got $1 more in allowance.
That is incredible.
But I got like the easier chores.
Now, would you say you two have any sort of the stereotypes of twins? Like, I feel like there's have their own language, are on their own planet, can kind of connect in the same room without speaking. Do you have any of that stuff?
I think we definitely have, like, I can look at her, she knows exactly what I'm thinking. And like this week I just came back from like a deep healing experience. I did this medicine called ibogaine.
Never heard of that one.
Which is like this an iboga plant. It's the root of iboga plant, and it was originally meant for people who have like addictions, like opioid addictions or drug addictions, but it's actually used to reset the nervous system. It actually, this plant goes into your nervous system, and it actually resets your nerves in your brain, your neuronal receptors in your brain, in your heart, and in your gut. And then while it's resetting your nervous system in your brains, in your heart, and your gut, it's basically showing you every trauma that you've experienced in your life, where you get to, but gently, like it opens the files, it allows you to look at it, it allows you to complete it, integrate it, close it in rapid succession, one after the other. And so, like the reason why it cures opioid addictions or people who are drug addicts, and bless them all, it's amazing they actually go down and do this work or do these experiences to get to rid themselves of their, their underlying trauma. and once you've healed your underlying trauma, there's no need for any type of coping mechanism. So their drug addiction stops. And so for me, it was just more like I just had stress in my nervous system that had accumulated over the last 2 decades as an entrepreneur. And so,
So are you floating around
and
on clouds right now?
yeah, it's not
Like, do
floating
you just
around
not feel? Do
clouds.
you
It's
feel
just like,
unburdened?
yeah, I mean, it's just like right now everything's rewiring. It kind of takes 3 months. So I just got back a couple of
Wow.
days ago. So everything's kind of resetting and repatterning and it's like you get to set, if all of your neuronal net, if all the receptors are kind of reset to factory settings, like where do you, what possibility would you like to, to create?
So we'll check
your
back in
life?
3 months and
So,
see what new company you've started.
yeah, please do.
Now, you are this really interesting creature because you're very artistic. You're very in touch with the spiritual world, the woo-woo of it all, as I jokingly say. And also, like, you're a shrewd businesswoman. Like, you don't like successfully start multiple businesses and not have some of that. And I know that you have this view that like what's good for the world, what's good for nature, what's good for the earth is also good for the bottom line, which I totally support and appreciate. Where do you feel in your brain that you have these two pieces? Or is it that one thing? Because you are this like really creative spiritual person and you are a business person that has to operate in a business world that doesn't always view the world and the health of the world as like an important piece of the bottom line.
Well, I mean, I've always been like a conscious capitalist, to be honest. Like I actually sit on the board of Conscious Capitalism with John Mackey and like a bunch of amazing, entrepreneurs of massive companies. And I do believe in the win-win-win-win-win model, where if every stakeholder wins, your business outperforms pure shareholder-led business by a factor of 10.5 to 1. And so it's been studied over a 15-year period that conscious businesses outperform just pure bottom line shareholder business by a factor of 10 to 1, 10 times more successful financially if you actually, where everybody wins, not just the shareholder, but the employee, the customer, the suppliers, and the planet. So if everybody wins, the entire tide gets lifted. So I do believe in rising tides, raising all boats. I don't think it's like a business strategy. It happens to be good for business, but it's just been like what my soul has always believed to be true. And so the fact that thereafter this book, has shown 50, these studies are showing that, it's like I knew that in my bones. And I think this is why the sort of the feminine-led entrepreneurship makes a lot of sense. I'm not saying female, I'm saying the feminine parts of all of us. If we get to lead, it's a lot more of a collaborative win for all environment. And I think that is the best way to build.
Now I'm just trying to imagine this person. Your first job out of college, was that investment banking? So I'm imagining this person sitting in front of me in that environment. Can't imagine. Oil and water, right?
It was. I was running away from it the whole time. Yeah, it was. But it taught me about, it's like, as Steve Jobs said, you can't connect the dots looking forward, but you can connect them looking backwards. So it's like, I didn't know that I would need to understand financial statements until I started my businesses, right? And so for me, like going to investment banking was really the, a paid business school of understanding just how to create a financial model, how to look at financial statements, how to like be somebody in business. And I think that was so invaluable when I started my businesses and, having to raise money. People were like, well, what's your background? I'm like, well, I worked in investment banking. Like,
you're safe.
Okay, I could trust you. Yeah. And so I think that even if I sucked as an investment banker and I was like stuck out like a sore thumb and I was just like, I did not fit in and did not like it. I also really appreciate and I'm grateful for that experience as well.
Now, how did you end up there sort of from a compulsion perspective? Was this you went to Cornell, and this is what people who went to Cornell did as a next step? Was this a dad will understand this, but it's not medical school, but it's impressive? Like, how did you get there?
Yeah. Well, yeah, it's sort of like your dad is like, okay, not going to become a doctor, but banker is okay. Banker, okay. And so it's sort of like that kind of a vibe where And at the end of the day, it was just like, am I learning? Am I growing? And for me, like what was wild about that experience was like the 9/11 experience. Like I started my job 10 days before 9/11, and it was one of those insane, like, you can't make this up experiences. And I'd worked in investment banking. I mean, I spent the 2 months doing the summer program to get ourselves ready for for the job at Deutsche Bank, and it was right across the street from Two World Trade Center. So my subway stop every single morning was Two World Trade Center, and I would basically walk upstairs, walk across the street. First, I'd get tea with my girlfriend, in the World Trade Center, and then I would walk across the street to Deutsche Bank. And then 9/11 happened, and it was like, the wildest day ever. Like 3,000 people died. 700 people in my girlfriend's office died that day. And 2 people in my office died on that day. And I slept through my alarm clock. It was like the only day in my life that I slept through my alarm clock. And only in my life, the one single day in my whole life, I'm the lightest sleeper. Like a tiny little thing wakes me up, and I just slept until like 10
Wow.
a.m. that day. And I was supposed to be under Two World Trade Center at 8:30 when the first plane hit. So it was like one of those survivor guilt thing. And so I actually, this is a whole other story, but I volunteered as the only volunteer for the whole bank to go into the rubble of the building with a Marine and retrieve critical documents for the whole company, for Deutsche Bank, a multi-billion-dollar company. I was the only volunteer. And so I went in with a Marine with 2 gas masks, goggles, flashlight, like mask, and went in with pages and pages of lists of things to look for from this multi-billion-dollar
Jesus Christ.
investment bank. Yeah, it was insane.
Well, we can add that to the list of the
that was
trauma that
interesting.
your medicine just is working on undoing in your body, I'm sure.
Good call. Yeah, for sure.
Jeez.
Yeah, I've been through my body. I mean, like this week, watching all of the trauma that lived inside of my body. But then you think about every human being that has just grown up in the world, and how much micro traumas, macro traumas. Like there's boulder size, but then there's pebble size, and there's sand size. Like literally, like that level of trauma in the body that lives there, unless we do the deep, deep, deep healing work to see it all and then resolve it. Ultimately, what is a trauma is just an unresolved energy that didn't move through your body, got stuck inside a nervous system, and it's not been resolved. And so once you are able to resolve it, integrate it, and then let it go, that's when the healing happens. And so this was definitely one of the earlier things. But then, yeah, I wrote down 3 things I want to do with my life. During this period, it was like the first was to play soccer professionally, and then was to make movies, and then was to start a business. And so I kind of followed that whole path. And it's been, I think 9/11 was one of those catalytic moments for me where it's like you really understand that the mystery of life is you never know when it's going to end. If there's one absolute certainty, it's that we're going to all die. Everything else is uncertain, and it's just a matter of when and how. And so that was like, I realized, that was a realization at 22 when I could have been 32,
Oh, yeah.
42, 52, 62 with that realization.
You were lucky that
I
it started younger, on the younger side, so you have more time.
Yeah.
Now, before we get into some of the businesses that you founded, I think it's important to understand the culture in your house around talking about body stuff when you were growing up. Like, you get your period, what's the conversation? Is there a sex talk? Like, what does that look like in your house? Because you are a very open book about these things, obviously, now, and that can either come from growing up with it or not growing up with it at all.
I mean, honestly, we didn't talk about that. Although we were 3 girls, so it just kind of happened. We just kind of, I don't remember just having an explicit conversation with my mom about any of it, or dad, but it was always just like a natural, normal thing. It wasn't good or bad. It just was. And I think for me with starting THINX and like building in these spaces of like periods, pee and poop, and like, because I grew up just talking about everything and there was no shame or don't talk about that energy, I think it just was like, okay, like, why is this taboo? Like, why is it uncomfortable talking about the thing that creates human life? Like, why is it uncomfortable, the thing that everybody does every day is poop? Like, every woman on earth has a period. Like, why is that uncomfortable to talk about? What part of society made that uncomfortable? And so for me, it's less about like, oh, talking about taboos. It's more about undoing the
taboo in the first
you know,
place.
the taboo in the first place, you know?
And, you know, what I noticed was not on your list of top 3 things you would do at age 22 when faced with sudden death was be a mother at some point. Now, was that something for me personally, I was not somebody who like always knew that was part of my path. Obviously, happily is
Yeah.
and is a huge part of my life now, but like was not something I was so ambitious and focused and unidirectional in where I thought I needed to be that it just didn't factor into my calculus. What was your come to mama moment? Like when did you realize like you wanted this for yourself?
I was 36. I was in Israel, standing facing the Wailing Wall and just like seeing the pain body of the planet and just witnessing like the mosque and the temples and the you know, the Wailing Wall, people like, you know, like there's just so much energy in that one place that there was just this, I just was like, I'm going to put just a conscious being on the planet to help heal this world. Like it was just like this thing. It's like we need to raise amazing children who are lit and who are lit up, who are going to like stop the suffering, who are going to help heal the suffering. And it was just such a real knowing. And so, yeah, I got pregnant at 37 the following year. I didn't even have an urge or thought about it before I was 36.
Were you in partnership with somebody at the time or did that? Okay.
Yeah. I was, yeah, I was married. Or no, I wasn't married yet. I was in partnership since 2011. So at that time, I was like 5 years in partnership.
And your son's name is Hiro, right?
Yes. His name
So,
is Hiro.
and
yeah,
which is so freaking cute. But so Hiro enters the picture. Where are you in your career trajectory at that point?
Wow. Well, I mean, I went through some crazy stuff when I was pregnant with Hiro at THINX, my previous company. And it was just like, you know, that was a period of time where it was like women like empowerment and women entrepreneurship, but then people just want to like take women down and take female founders down. So it was a big season of like takedown attempts. And I just kind of got caught in that as well, which was really painful while I was pregnant. And so I just really just kind of held on to my baby's safety, like energetically. And so when I gave birth, I did have to have an emergency C-section, which was very scary. And then I started my new company, Tushy, at the time, and sold THINX thereafter in 2019. So I haven't actually been part of it at all since 2017. But then started Tushy in 2017, sold THINX in 2019. And then I started working on Hiro in 2020, which was the catalyst from having a baby. So, you know, really wanting to, so when I started, you know, THINX and Tushy, they were both, you know, elevating people and the planet. So it was offering a pair of underwear that's leak-proof, absorbent, antimicrobial, moisture wicking that served a woman on her period. But then we helped divert hundreds of millions of tampons, pads, and applicators from landfills. You know, and you should buy a reusable product one time and you can just wash it. You don't have to keep buying something over and over again. So net, it saved you thousands of dollars over the years. And then with Tushy, you know.
So Japanese of you, by the way.
You know, I figured.
And Indian, that's true. That's true.
In India, yeah, both cultures use water.
But the Indian way is different. Yeah, you got a cup.
Yeah, it's like a. Yeah, you got a cup. Yeah, you get it. I love that. You know,
I've spent some time in the squatty potties of India.
I love it. Yes.
I actually, in Parliament in Delhi, I was like on a tour with my friends and I'm in like, those are like the fanciest squatty potties I've ever seen, right? Like you're like squatting down and I had my sunglasses right here and they just went right down. It's like my first experience, but you know, we learn.
What were you doing? What were you doing?
I spent a lot of time there, actually, over more than a decade. The first time I went was in college, just with my friends from college who are Indian and were
Amazing.
there. And then I went on to work for a consulting firm who had an office there. So I would stay with my friends' parents, which was way more fun than staying in the hotel. And they would drop me off at the metro. And I'd like bring my little lunch that they packed me, or get like a tiffin, and like just like
tiffin,
go to work. It was the best.
I
The best.
love that.
Yeah.
Which city?
Mainly Delhi. Like some of my friends are from
Delhi.
Jaipur, so like I would go visit and hang out with their families if I was there for work. But just the best.
I love that. Hindi bolti ho.
मेरी नाम कारी है, सब ठीक है?
Okay, ठीक है.
बिल्कुल
ठीक
ठीक है.
Good job.
That's
That's
about it.
Good. I love it.
You with Tushy also, I think we have a weird path crossing. I don't know if you were there, but I remember when Tushy started, I was working, we had an office space in Dumbo, and there would be people from Tushy installing the Tushy, like doing product testing in our office building. I don't know if you guys were also in there.
Is it 20 J Street still?
No, it was on... It's like right by the water. I'm totally blanking on the street name now. This was now a while ago, but it would.
Oh yeah. No. You should. That was in
2018. I don't know. All I know is that Tushy bidets
no,
started showing up at all of our potties.
It was It was
Front Street.
It was
Front
on,
Street.
Front Street. Yeah.
Yeah. So I remember people would come in and
Yeah.
be like, "Hey, have you guys used the bidets in the bathroom? Can we ask you how it went?" And I remember being like, I had a Danish coworker who just like, it was the best day of his life when the bidet got installed. It's very exciting.
Well, yeah, for anyone when you actually use
Huge.
one. So, yeah, Tushy's done really well. We've sold over 3 million bidets so far. It's done really. We have an amazing team, and I'm so proud of them. And it's like I have my CEO and co-founder is like running the shop there really, really beautifully with our incredible team of leaders. And so it allowed me to kind of step in and start the newest project, Hiro, which was born after making a baby and just seeing the amount of waste that we're creating
It's crazy.
as new parents, and it's like, you're just like, holy cow, like every baby goes through 6,000 diapers that take 400 to 500 years to break down, up to 6,000, if not more. Sometimes they say now up to 8,500 now diapers in their life, which is like the most giant stat. Right now we're actually doing our installation we're building right now in my fat facility. We're building a 6,000 diaper statue to show, and then we're going to be trailing it around the country to show what each baby goes through. 6,000 diapers. And so visually
what I appreciate about this solution is you have a lot of ideas about when you're pregnant, about like what kind of mom you're going to be, what kind of parent you're going to be.
Yeah.
Never a screen, very chill, serene. We're doing baby-led weaning. We're doing all the things, Of course, I'm going to do elimination communication and cloth diapering and all of this shit. And then the baby gets here. It's the first time I've had a baby. Never even really held a newborn before. And I'm like, I am literally trying to remember to drink fucking water. Am I going to remember to put the dirty cloth diapers to the wash and it's not going to happen. It's just not.
I know.
So I appreciate
that
this solution both appeals to people like me who don't want to have a horrific print and should hopefully appeal to everybody, and also doesn't mean I have to do cloth diapering.
How it works.
Okay.
Exactly. So just to show you, just for those of you who don't know how Hiro works, it's really awesome. So this is the Hiro diaper, right? And it's actually the only unbleached diaper on the market. Every single diaper on the market is bleached currently.
What's the point of
We're
bleaching?
The only one. Because people think bleach equals clean. And that's what these big diaper companies think. Like, bleach equals clean. Whereas ours is like, you can see it's like beige. It's like, but this is unbleached equals cleaner, And so it's the cleanest. It's the only one that partnered with local American cotton farms for the out. So it's like so soft. It's like the softest to the touch. And it's made with up to 50% less plastic than Coterie and all the other diaper companies. And it performs better. Like, we actually have all the different data points that came back that says that it absorbs, up to 5 times faster than leading eco diapers. up to 5 times drier than leading brands. It's like made with, like I said, up to 50% less plastic. It's just the best diaper, and parents who are using Hiro are like, oh my God, it's like lighter and it's like cleaner and unbleached and made with like way more natural materials than any other diaper on the market. And the best part is that it comes these little pouches that have these sleeping little mycelium inside, which are made of like the root part of the mushroom. And you literally just drop this pouch into the soiled diaper, the whole thing. You don't have to open it. You just drop the whole thing into the diaper, and then you throw it in the trash. And in a couple of weeks, this little pouch that has these sleeping mycelium in it, which is like I said, the root part of the mushroom, the root part of the fungi, it wakes up and fertilized by your baby's poop or pee, like fertilized by yours. So you contribute, your baby, which means your breast milk, you are contributing to not creating even more of a waste. So instead of it taking 400 to 500 years, it will return to the earth in a fraction of the time. Like that's our whole mission at Hiro. And so because fungi have been breaking down the carbon backbone of trees for hundreds of millions of years, and turns out the carbon backbone of trees are very similar to the carbon backbone of plastic. And so how it works is, because plastic comes from fossil fuels, right? Fossil fuels are made of compressed dead trees and animals. So if fungi can actually break down these dead trees and animals, it can also break down plastic. And so we just had to really harness them. So we spent like almost 5 years, like working with the top scientists, mycologists, PhDs in mycology, microremediation, biology, chemistry, to create the world's first microdigestible technology inside the best high-performing eco diaper that actually works.
I love also that it's building on, first you're thinking about what do women need to have close to their bodies when they're menstruating that's going to be safe and good for them. So that transfers over, the learning there. Tushy, you're thinking about like what's a good bathroom experience, granted different for an adult, but like you have these things that you building on to then meet you in this moment of parenthood. Now, in the backdrop of all this, you are raising a human who you said, the inspiration for which came to you while you're in this really intense place at this intense moment. It's a lot of pressure to put on both you and him, no? To be these like really upstanding, empathetic members of society. What does that look like in practice? Like, I mean, he's still a kid. He's still going to kick off about stuff, I imagine. Like, what's the dynamic in the house? What does it look like?
I mean, he's a total kid. He just like, wants to play, like fight for 15 minutes of video games while I'm like, no, go ride your bike, go write me a haiku, go make me
Go write me a haiku is my favorite.
Yeah, write me some haikus. He's written me like hundreds of haikus. And he's also made me hundreds of inventions. Kids are just these creative, like easy. Everything is just easy for them. And so just to hone those skills. So I have them make me an invention every day, and just like different types of things that are super cool that he just comes up with. And then he gets to watch 15 minutes of like whatever. And so, yeah, I mean, we go biking, we hang. I mean, he knows everything about Hiro. He's actually, like loves representing Hiro. You actually, if you go to @Hiro Diapers on Instagram, HIRO Diapers on Instagram, you can actually see him.
His little voiceover that he does when he is incredibly cute and so just well spoken. How old is he now?
He's
what
8.
a dude.
He's 8.
Now,
yeah.
Are you ever not completely composed? Because I like to think I'm a pretty chill, cool mom. I like to think that my kids will come to me with stuff or whatever. And also, I regularly lose my fucking mind. Like, I'm just like, Jesus, can't you just... Do you ever have those moments? I mean, he's 8 now. He's like more of a person. But in those younger years...
Honestly, I have to say, when it comes to Hiro, he's like I do have a lot of capacity to give to him, because I've had so much of like hair pulling in the rest of my life that I feel like when I come home, I'm doe-eyed with him. And so like I don't
he's your happy place. Is that his middle name?
His name is Hiro Happy, yeah. And my ex-husband and I, we ended our relationship. So I get him half the time, although the other half of the time when he's at Andrew's house, I do go to their house 4 times a week to see Hiro. So I'm only not with him 3 days a week or so, 3 days at a time. But it's like, so of course I cherish him even more. And so I think that's there's a part of me that's always like feels like a little bit, there's some guilt associated to that with that, and just being like, oh, like I wish we can all, he doesn't have to go from this house to that house every week, and that there's some deep pain as a mother in that. But because we've made it so fun, we've done the best we can to make it both situations like really fun, really engaging, like we're making the most of it. And there's still of course some guilt inside, so I think maybe I overcompensate by like loving him so much extra. But that's it's probably coming from a place of guilt or something. And not always, but like there is a part
you
of
just
you
know
that,
similar to the horrific 9/11 experience, it's another like focusing tool where you say, I only get this much time with him, so I want to make the most of it. It's a focusing lens. Now how old was he when you guys split up?
He was 5.
Okay.
So 3 years ago.
And
or 6, 5.
And like I feel like for everybody it's different, but were you like, okay, this is our co-parenting plan, we have consciously uncoupled and this is the strategy? Or are you guys kind of finding your way? Because I mean, he's a different kid than he was 3 years ago.
3 years ago, for sure. I mean, we, for the challenges of divorce and just in general, like I remember calling our divorce attorney and I just said, I need you to like make an eye contact contract with me that this is going to be the most loving uncoupling you've ever done. Like that's it. Like we have a kid together and you're not going to like try and pull us apart and do all this stuff to make more money like every hour. I understand how you guys operate. So I'm going to just let you know that I'm going to not fall into that. And neither is he. Like we both want it to be as clean and as simple as possible. So ultimately you're doing just the paperwork for us, to just like, make it happen. Which in and of itself was still painful and hard. And, it's just not easy in general. But we did wear matching tracksuits.
Oh my God, you guys are such hams. That's so funny.
I know. And we did.
United front till the end.
Divorce day. Yeah. And we just, we like, and there's like I still, this past week doing this deep work that I just did, it was like I worked through a lot of resentment that I felt towards him. I worked through a lot of heartbreak that I kind of put under the rug. I worked through a lot of just the painful parts, and because you just like anything else, you keep going. I had a C-section, you got to breastfeed now, you got to keep going. I had a divorce, got to keep going. I had this happen, got to keep going. I had this crazy thing happen on my cousin, I got to keep going. And there's just like COVID was just in its own intensity, like, that it's like you're so afraid of everyone, and it's just like you don't know what's, going to happen. And so there's just like so many macro situations, micro situations that are happening that, that we're navigating at all times. And so I think like for the most part, we're doing the best we can. But I do know that, there's always more healing that can happen. There's always more work that we can do. And I know that because 3 years later, like I'm in this deep healing, the ceremony, and I'm like, wow, still processing a lot of unprocessed trauma from the relationship.
I mean, I think it takes great bravery. And I like this like Esther Perel idea that like we should celebrate the time of our partnership rather than like and say like, look at us, like, look how long we did that for.
We had an amazing
Look how long we did. Like that was so great. And that is rarely the human default in those situations, especially for high performers who want to achieve and like have an idea of what success looks like. I think it can like really fuck because it's like, oh, it's like, no, that was actually a really successful chapter. I can now move on. And speaking of another chapter, you mentioned that there is a new partner in your life.
Yeah.
And you're like totally glowy and loved up about it. Dating as a mom, a parent.
Yeah.
Where in the conversation are you like, I've got a kid and, this is how it's going to be?
Well, he knew from day one, and literally the first week that I met him, he met Hiro, and Hiro goes, hey, what's up? And he was like, what's up? He goes, what's your name? And he goes, Seth. And he goes, how long you know my mom? And he goes, about a week. And he goes, are you sleeping over? and then he goes, no, I'm not sleeping over. And then he goes, hey, mama, can you go in the other room? I just want to have a conversation with Seth,
Stop.
just me and him. And he was like 7. And I was just like, sure, I guess. So I go in the other room, and then like here's like whispering, talking to Seth, who I just met, that week. And then and then finally the two of them walk out.
Is everything okay?
Like, what'd you guys talk about? And then Seth goes, sorry, bro code. And I was like,
Okay.
okay, respect. And so no, it was, and from there, like he never pushed, he never tried. He was always just like gently kind of, like, and then now he's like, we're about a year, in, and he's like a second dad. Like Hiro really loves him, and he just really like listens to him and respects him and sees him as a second dad already, which is really beautiful. And Andrew has a new wife and a new kid, and everything is just like the ecosystem is strong.
And now in terms of for you, you are truly a force to be reckoned with. When you look for a partner in this stage of life, you are like a builder, a goer, a doer. You got a lot going on. What sort of teammate does Miki need?
I mean, the goddess gifted me the most amazing man. His name is Seth Blaustein. He started.
Sounds like he's a member of my tribe.
I know, I love his name is Seth Blaustein, but he has a Hindu name, Satchitananda, which means truth, awareness, bliss, that he was given to him by his guru in India. That he's like Hindu and he's Jewish, but he's Hindu, which is amazing because I'm basically Jewish because I'm from
you're culturally, yeah, I get it.
I'm culturally Jewish, but I'm Hindu and Buddhist. So it already just energetically, it's such a match. He's an entrepreneur. He started the most amazing company called Dollar Donation Club, which is creating like the world's first collective super philanthropist made up of millions of people giving $1.
Okay, so you're totally aligned vibe.
Yeah, and basically like their club they have 24,000 members currently, but they're growing. They want it to be millions. So everyone here should join Dollar Donation Club. And it's basically like together with just $1 a month, they collectively pool their money and they make mega donations to remove ocean plastic. They've removed over 1 million pounds of ocean plastic. They've planted over 2.5 million trees. They've built school classrooms for over 300,000 children living in extreme poverty. Like they've planted seagrass, where seagrass sequesters more carbon than anything on the planet. So it's like we're so aligned dharmically, and so it feels. And he's like hilarious and sexy and like a guy's guy, like, and a woman. He's
and a woman's guy. He's just like a guy of the people.
And a woman's guy, and he's like, he's just. I feel very, very lucky, very, very blessed, and he's and I want to gift him a baby. That's my dream.
Okay, well, you heard it here. Maybe not first, but today that Miki wants to gift Seth a baby.
Yeah.
Now, I feel like you're a serial entrepreneur, so I don't think that Hiro will be your last thing, but it's the thing for right now.
Yeah. No, it's really important, Hiro. It's like going to change your life if you're a parent and you want to actually serve the planet, understand ecosystem consciousness, which basically just means that if the ecosystem that your baby grows up in thrives, then your baby will thrive even more. It's not the other way around. You're not just focusing on your baby. And then what if the ecosystem is not great? Your baby's going to grow up in a shitty ecosystem, then it's not going to serve the baby. Whereas if you focus on opening up your aperture and literally thinking about the ecosystem that your baby's going to grow up in, then of course your baby's going to thrive more. It's like permaculture. It's obvious. And yet we're so like individual. Then my family, my single family. I don't care about all the Amazon boxes, all the waste, until your baby grows up inside the waste and it's in their bloodstream, in their brains, in their reproductive organs, in their umbilical cords. Like, there is a cost. And so what is it? What can we do as a species today, as adults today? We can harness nature to heal nature. We can collaborate with nature. Nature's been breaking things down for billions of years. Fungi have been breaking down trees for hundreds of billions of years. So we can take that and harness that to resolve a modern problem, the plastic crisis, where 91% of plastic is not being recycled. And diapers, the number one household plastic waste item. There's 100 billion diapers end up in landfills.
I'm potty training my kid this weekend.
Yeah, and it's like we're also teaching at Hiro. So check out hirodiapers.com, HIRO diapers.com. I'm so proud of what we're doing. And one of the things that we're doing is we're teaching parents elimination communication to get your babies out of diapers as fast as possible. And so like instead of being in diapers for 3, 4, 5 years that these big diaper companies want your baby to be in, we're going to teach you how to get out of diapers in 18 months, saving you thousands of dollars and giving your baby the best diaper on the market with the best technology that are designed to return them to the earth. So it's like it's a true win-win-win-win for all solution that I'm so excited for everyone to know about it.
You are intense. You are connected to what you want. Is there like a silly, wild, woo-woo, like goofy goofball Miki? Does she show up ever? Or are you just like this all the time? Are you like looking out the window and you're like,
No.
oh my God, what problem am I going to solve today? Like, how do we let loose, Miki?
No, I'm like, play.
Okay.
Are you kidding me? Play
Okay,
is the
good.
middle name. Play is like, fun is fundamental, you know?
Just checking. I just got to
and
make
no,
sure.
No. I'm like, ask anyone. We're like, my twin sister and I, my twin sister started Daybreaker. It's like an early morning dance movement before work starts. And it's like, you're just dancing and playing. Like my birthday party is called Conjuring Play. Like it's about playing, you know? And so.
Okay,
yeah,
good.
we
For
play
you.
hard.
Just had to check because we love a little bit of a goofball
No,
here.
no.
This was so much
No,
fun.
we're
Thank you
goof.
for giving me the time.
You have such a great
Likewise.
vibe.
And I'll talk to you soon.
Thank you.
Bye.
Okay. Can't wait. Bye.
Team, I need your help. If you love it here, please like and leave a review on your favorite podcast platform. Subscribe to the Substack for full access to this episode's show notes and join the discussion. And of course, follow me on Instagram at mutha, mutha.life, for a daily look at all things nude. Thanks for listening. Be sure to tune in next week for another Chat in the Closet. This podcast is produced by Motherlight, music by Ronan Landa. See you next time. Hey team, and welcome. I'm your host, Carrie, creator of Motherlife, your destination for all things real talk and parenting. This is the IRL group chat, where we talk about the wild balancing act of pursuing careers and passions while also doing our best to show up for our kids. Join me every week as I sit down with some badass parents in my closet and we talk about their careers, kids, and relationships and all of the weird shit that comes up when you're trying to balance the seemingly impossible. Hey team, and welcome. I'm your host, Carrie, creator of Motherlife, your destination for all things real talk and parenting. This is the IRL group chat, where we talk about the wild balancing act of pursuing careers and passions while also doing our best to show up for our kids. Join me every week as I sit down with some badass parents in my closet and we talk about their careers, kids, and relationships and all of the weird shit that comes up when you're trying to balance the seemingly impossible.